first we're gonna begin with what made you become a journalist.
Yeah. So are you talking about strictly on air? Because I was at TSN behind the scenes as well before.
Oh, well, both.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll run you through the journey. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I went to McMaster, graduated in 2006.
Right.
And immediately after, literally the day after my last exam at TSN, I still remember it was April 17th, 2006 was my last exam, and I started at TSN April 18th, the very next day, 2006. So no break, right into it. I started 3 jobs, TSN, and 1 job, 2 internships. TSN was a paid job as a writer behind the scenes. It was what's called an editorial assistant.
Yeah.
So I would write script for SportsCenter, cut highlights, all that stuff. And then I was an intern at The Score, doing a similar job, just unpaid.
Right.
And also a writer, freelance copy editor at The Hockey News.
Oh, wow.
So I was very much sports, all 3 places sports. So I worked behind the scenes at all those places for a couple of years, just learning the industry, because my program at Mac wasn't really hands-on. It was more theoretical.
Exactly.
So I really learned behind the scenes of TV and how to put everything together those 2 years at The Score and TSN. I started on air in late 2007 at Rogers Cable, hosting a morning show called Daytime. So I did that for 1 season, then switched over to Rogers Toronto for the 2008-2009 season to host a sports show.
Yeah.
And then I came to CP24 in 2009 as a weather and traffic reporter, then became a general news reporter, then became an anchor, then got the weekend breakfast show. It was one thing after another. I spent just shy of 5 years at CP24 from 2009 to late 2013.
Yeah.
And then I got an offer from TSN to go host SportsCenter, to go national. So November 2013, I went to TSN, and I was there until July of 2016. So just shy of about 2.5, 3 years, just shy of 3 years at TSN. Came back here July 2016. So it's now been, shy of 3.5 years since I've been back. So long-winded answer, I've been with Bell Media on air for more than 10 years now, for 10.5 years. The majority of that at CP24, about 3 years of that at TSN.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
What, like, when you were watching, did you, like you said, you did watch a few anchors that did have the shows, or they were doing news and they motivated you? Like, how was your family with it? When you, like, usually, like, brown families are like, hey, you want to be a doctor, engineer, or lawyer. Like, they have that mindset that, hey, my son or daughter is going to be a lawyer and doctor or engineer. Like, how did your parents approach it?
Yeah, I was lucky. Like, I know what you're saying. Like, a lot of typical or traditional Indian parents are like, it's lawyer, doctor, accountant, something that they know and can understand.
Exactly.
TV's a very weird thing to understand for Indian parents. That said, my parents are super supportive. They never sort of strong-armed me into any one type of profession. They always said, look, just do something that makes you happy. Find something that you really enjoy and turn it into a career. So they were supportive in that sense. But I think they also had a hard time understanding exactly what it was I was doing when I was working behind the scenes. Like, when I'd come home from TSN and they'd say, well, what'd you do today? And I'd turn on SportsCenter and say, well, that highlight pack, I did that pack. Well, what do you mean? Is that your voice? Well, no, it's not my voice, but I chose all the highlights. They said, oh, so you edited the highlights. Well, no, I didn't edit the highlights. I chose the highlights, I wrote the script, and I took that all to an editor, and then they cut the highlights. And then, so they didn't really understand it when I'd say, that's my pack on air. But then once I started on air and they could physically see me and hear me, I think they kind of started to understand what was going on. And, in the early days of TV, you're either making no money, or even when I was making money, it's very little money.
Right.
My first job was Rogers TV. I was being paid $50 a show to host a morning show at Peel, which isn't a lot of money. No. It's $250 a week. And, for the first several years of my career, I was living in my parents' basement.
Yeah.
Thankfully, if it wasn't for them, I would have had to throw in the towel earlier because I would have had a lot more bills to pay. So the supportive parents definitely helped subsidize me for the first few years until I finally landed this job and was able to move downtown and make it all work. So they're super supportive and they get it, but there were some struggles in the early days.
So we should thank your parents too at the same time for all this stuff?
Totally. And I think anyone, most people sort of who make it in this industry or any industry that's non-traditional and that there's struggles, whether you're an actor or an artist or whatever, I think most people probably had some help from their parents along the way. So shout out mom and dad. Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, shout out to your parents, and I hope they listen to this interview too when I send it to you, and I hope you show them and may they hear it. But when you went to McMaster's, like, were you like a social person? You would join like sports club? Like you're a sports guy. I can see, and I'm a sports guy too. Like I wrote in my biography too. I was doing one of the intros for one of my classes, and I was like diehard Raptors fan and leave. Like anyone talks bad about Raptors, I'm about to like go with them. Like feel like you want to fight or fist fight or something. Like that was me. Like how were you in the university? Like in college right now, like I'm kind of outgoing. Like I do jokes with my friends. I'm like Life with Derek. If you ever watched it from the Family T channel, I was like, I'm Derek, but the smarter version. He was like a little bit like weaker on the education side, but I'm good. I'm outgoing there. Like I've joined like galas or associations like MSA or other stuff. Like how were you there? Like did you join any associations or anything like that?
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that's how you are, because that's good. I think that makes for being well-rounded. Wayne Gretzky always said when he was growing up, he's the greatest hockey player of all time. He didn't just play hockey. When it was hockey off season, he'd play baseball. He'd play other sports. So I think it's important to use that analogy to not just be doing things related to your career, to join other societies, to join other clubs. Keep yourself well, get some different perspectives, right?
Yeah.
So like I'll be honest, in high school I wasn't that inspired, I wasn't that motivated. I had 5 years of high school because I'm old. I had OAC. Have you heard of OAC?
No.
OAC was grade 13. They got rid of it in the early 2000s. So I was the second last year of grade 13. And it was a blessing for me because for the first 4 years of high school, I was fine. I was like an honor student. I was okay, but I was capable of a lot more, and I didn't do much.
Right.
I didn't do a whole lot of extracurriculars, and something's flicked on in my brain or in the summer before OAC where I thought, shoot, I got 1 year left of high school. Like I don't have a lot on my resume outside of just being an okay student.
Right.
So in OAC, I joined everything. I joined the drama club. I joined some charities. I was in the high school play. I made my grades sort of bump up a little bit. And I carried that inspiration and motivation into my time at McMaster, and I was the everything guy at Mac. I did everything. I signed up for everything. I was a spirit leader for all the incoming students. By my fourth year, I was the Welcome Week planner they gave me and my business partner at that time, they gave us $1 million budget to plan all of Welcome Week for all of the first year students, the 5,000 students coming in. So it was a full-time summer job. I was the sports editor at the school newspaper. I hosted and produced a radio show on campus radio. I worked with Habitat for Humanity on campus, like Maroons, the spirit group for the students union. I did everything, and I got involved, and it was such a rich experience for me. Like just the connections I've made then. My best friends in university are my best friends today. So yes, I was that guy. I was totally involved, and that's the advice I would pass on to anybody who's getting involved in college or university. Get involved and live on campus if you can, because that's just such a good experience.
You said it great. I think nobody can say better than that. When you like, did you have like a sheet that you like wrote? Okay, these are my goals at this age, at this age, at this age. Like usually, some people would have like, okay, by 18, I want to be done high school. I want to have a full-time job, or I want to have an internship, or whatever. Like, did you have something like that too for like high school and then university, and then like when I get into the workplace and stuff?
I didn't. That would have been a really good idea, though. I should have had a vision board, like to have something tangible. Yeah. I'm a visual person, but no. It was just sort of an internal conversation in my head. And, I think I wouldn't change that because I feel like I came into this journey with the right level of sort of ambition and desire and drive, but also the right level of naivety. Yeah. Because honestly, Saboon, if I knew sort of how tough this career is, if I knew sort of all the pitfalls, if I knew how few jobs there were going to be, I might have looked at, I'm a pretty practical person. I think the pragmatic side of me would have looked at that and maybe thought, my odds of succeeding here maybe aren't that great, so maybe I'll do something more practical. But because I didn't really think of that, I just sort of, and I didn't know what the industry was like because I hadn't been working in it yet, it was just sort of a day-by-day approach. Like when I started at TSN as a writer, my first assignment, I had no idea what the producer asked me to do. He said, because again, my program was more theoretical. Yeah. Like he said, oh, Matt Sundin, who was injured, practiced today. Can you cut some B-roll? We need a 30-second VO shot. I didn't know what a VO shot was or 30 seconds of B-roll was, so I just said, okay, no problem. And I went and sat down, sweating at my desk, and asked the guy beside me, like, hey, the producer just asked me to do this. What does this mean? And he started laughing, and he's like, oh, well, VO is just a voiceover. A SOT is a sound up. He wants it to be 30 seconds, so do 20 seconds of script, setting up that Sundin's practicing, and a 10-second clip of Sundin talking. Right. That's your VO SOT. And B-roll is just footage. And, oh, okay, I get it now. And every day at TSN and the Score, I felt like for 6 months I was learning something new. Every day was like I was a stress ball of being assigned something I didn't understand, learning it, and, oh, okay, now I know how to do that. And you just learn something every single day. So I think if I came in knowing how much I didn't know, I would have been too intimidated and would have thrown in the towel. That's why I say I came in with the right level of naivety and drive, if that makes sense. Yeah, so like I think back on it now, and it's scary telling that story, but you're just sort of living it every day, and it sort of just becomes your norm.
Like, well, you made it. Like, now everybody looks up to you. Like, we're doing an interview right now. That's one of the signs that, you know, you made it. Like, I kind of tell my friends too, like, the day I will know I make it, I'm kind of like, I love cars a lot too. I'm like, if I have a Range Rover or G-Wagon, I know I made it, and I don't have to look at my wallet twice before spending money, because I'll know, like, I have enough money to do something.
Right.
So, like, did you have, like, a vision, hey, you know, I want to be a millionaire or a billionaire one day too, or just like a talk show host, or own your own channel privately as well?
Right. I hear what you're saying. I never personally equated, like, success or quote-unquote making it. I'm doing air quotes. You can't see it right now, but I never equated that with anything financial or anything monetary, because, you know, I mean, you probably already know, but I'll tell you, like, Canadian media is not where you come to make a ton of money, right? It's more sort of, do you enjoy what you're doing? Like, my goal was always, I think from the time I started working at the newspaper at McMaster, and the time I saw my first story run and my first byline, and I got that natural high off of that, I think it was at that moment I realized in first year, like, okay, this is pretty cool, and I'm not making anything for doing this right now, it's volunteer, but if I can make a career off a hobby, make a passion my job, that was always sort of the goal. The monetary thing was never really like, I want to be making X. And I think I've been able to do that because, you know, despite the fact that I wake up at 3:15 every morning, when I come in every morning, I love my job. I love who I get to work with. I love that I have a lot of free reign over the show. Nobody really tells me what to say for the most part. When I've got my guests, I come up with my own questions. When we have our chats, it's all sort of my sort of on the spot sort of intellect and wit that is reacting and having that conversation with my co-host, and that is what sort of gets me up in the morning. It's interacting with the viewers and the fans off, you know, social media platforms, which is really cool. It's the type of feedback I get when I get to do public speaking, or I you know, people on the street stop me to give me feedback on the show, whether it's positive or, hey, I didn't like this, why did you do this, you know. That's what I really like and what I equate with success. And, you know, now we're doing a #1 show now. We've been the #1 show for 2 years in this market, the biggest market in Canada, and that's nice, you know. Was that always my goal when I started out? No. But I think your goals, and this will probably happen for you too, your goals sort of evolve and change as you sort of start to go down the path. And look how much the landscape has changed, right? Like, you know, I started out in print. I would have stuck to print, but what's happening to TV now was happening to print 15 years ago, where you know, print was really struggling, trying to find its foothold. A lot of the weaker print publications died off, and the stronger ones have now found their footing on like paid subscription digital platforms. Well, look at what's happening to TV right now, right? Cable cutting, moving to streaming. A lot of the channels, the weaker channels, are dying off, and the stronger ones are sort of having to reinvent themselves in this new sort of like streaming wars, illegal streaming type era, right? And TV is going through those growing pains now, and I think it will find its footing, but it hasn't yet. I think it'll come out of the woods probably in a couple of years. Let's talk about your coworkers, since you did bring it up. You work with Pooja a lot too. Like, we see her on the TV. Like, this morning my brother texted me, he like, hey, look who's on TV, and you guys were together. And then I think you guys had a guest too today too, Doug Ford. He was in today as well, the premiere. So he like, did you see him? I'm like, well, no, because I'm still walking to the station, but I think he was on there. And how does she approach you when you guys work together? Like, do you guys have a plan a day ahead or a week ahead of it? When you guys are doing a show, you're like, okay, this is the idea, and you guys go tell the producer or the editor and stuff, be like, okay, this is our idea. Do you guys work with your own ideas, or did they give you ideas like, this is what we're gonna talk about today, and this is what who we're gonna bring in as guests? Do you guys have a say in it, or like all those stuff? Yeah, that's a great observation and a really great question. So I'll preface it all by saying a big part of the reason I left TSN to come back here was because of the opportunity to work with Pooja. In all my years at TV, she's the best co-host I've ever had. We used to do the weekend show here. We've got a natural chemistry, which I love. To answer your question, it's a little bit of both. So there's a certain amount of prep, but both Pooja and I, because we both love improv, both Pooja and I don't like to be over-planned or over-prepped. We'll sort of prep to a certain degree. So we have our morning meeting, which we're about to have with our team coming up every morning, where we'll talk about the show we just had, what worked, what didn't, what can we improve, and then we'll look ahead to the next day's show. So that's sort of the extent of the preparation, that we'll sort of say, okay, here's who we have on the show tomorrow, who's interviewing what guests, here's some of the things we want to talk about for our what we call kicker chats. Those are sort of the lighter stories. You see us on the couch talking about, whether it be airplane etiquette or do you like pineapple on pizza, or sort of the lighter fun stories people can kind of weigh in on. We call them chattables, or we know what the stories are, but we don't plan what we want to say, and that's where the excitement comes in. And we're blessed with an amazing cast. Like Bill is really quick at thinking on his feet, and he's really funny. So is Pooja. She studied improv. She was a drama major.
Wow.
George, Mika, like they all bring something different. It's like a recipe, and everyone sort of brings a different ingredient. We're really lucky. Everyone brings something else to the table. Like Mika is a mom, so she can bring that perspective of like what's it like to have a teenage son in high school, and to have a young kid as well. George is one of the funniest and the most creative wordsmiths I've ever met. Like he will come up with the most intelligent ideas and sort of put it into this like punchy sentence, and nobody does it better than him. So I pride myself on sort of reacting and having a really quick sarcastic wit. So I think when you put that all together on the couch and you mix it up, it makes for good television. So I know I'm the first one on the show and I'm doing the news and I'm kind of steering the ship, but I think I'm just one cog in the wheel of sort of CP24 breakfast, of what makes this all successful and makes it work every morning.
I was like, I think it was, I was reading one of your latest posts you posted, and somebody did post, they commented on your post. They're like, every morning I wake up and I have a smile on my face because of you guys, you and Pooja. You guys bring that show on. You guys are always smiling. You guys are always positive. And I feel like it's not just that comment that I saw on your post. It's not just that. It's millions of Canadians. Like I'm one of them that I do. Like in the morning when I'm driving to school, like I literally have this phone with me. I have it magneted to the thing in my windshield. And then I'm watching CP24 because I have unlimited internet. So I'm just watching CP24, and you guys are on it. And like I'm literally laughing in the car, and while I'm driving to school, I'm just like, this is what I think everybody needs in life, is that kind of like smile or happiness. And I feel like you guys really bring that to the table for all like our audience. And 2 years, I would say, in my prediction, you guys probably have the best show for the next 10 years. If it lasts, I would like, as a journalism student, as a person who dreams of having big or a lot of stuff in the future, or like we look up to you, and I feel like you guys are our motivations. Like I see girls that would say, hey, Pooja is a great anchor, and we see you, I'm just like, wow. Everybody look at as a person. Like when I look at Mady, he's not like in Canada, he's in US or UK, so he's not that close to us. But you are in Canada, like you're a Canadian, so we were just like, at the end of the day, when I watch those guys, I'm okay. I love those anchors, and they're like good at their own part. They're like geniuses. But when we look up to Gurdeep, we're like, this is it. Like this is what we watch, and this is what we live for every day. And like literally, when I go, I'm not like exaggerating, but it's like, wow. Like when I go to school, I'm always energetic. My friends are like, how are you so energetic? It's a Monday morning, 7 a.m. in the morning or 8:30, and you're like, we have a 3-hour lecture to go, and you're already excited. Like, well, how much coffee did you drink? But I always tell them I drink this much or that much. I'm watching CP24. They're like, how do you get excitement from that? I'm like, well, because when you watch those faces and they're smiling, they're happy. Like, we can see when people are faking it or when people are real genuine about it, and you guys are the genuine people that we and that's why I feel like everybody loves you guys, is because it's the generosity you guys have and the genuine conversation you guys have with each other. You guys are like hitting each other with pillows, you and Pooja, and it's like those crazy stuff. It's like, and like yesterday's post I saw, like literally I was on your Instagram the whole day yesterday. I was just like, okay, do I have like any questions that I have to take from here too? Because usually when you prepare, like you said, you have to do that. It's the Albert. There was a quote from Albert Einstein. He like, there's a difference between genius and stupidity. Like a genius is has a limit, and stupidity doesn't really have a limit. But so you guys are genius because you guys have that limit. You guys go to a certain extent. You guys don't like you don't take the spotlight all the time. She doesn't take it. You guys both have it on each other for that time whenever you guys are on air. Or maybe like I don't know about your personal life, but when we see on the air, you're like, damn, my day went great after watching these guys. Like they had fun, we had fun, I laughed, you guys laughed. Like even though I don't see you in person, but I see you on TV, I'm just like, there we go. That's what we all wake up for and stuff. Even though I'm a smart person, but I love watching news. And like after watching your shows, when you came on to like TSN too, but when you came back to CP24, I was like, okay, like even when I posted an Instagram story today, I'm like, this is my future workplace. Like I posted and I tagged you into it, like meeting Gurdeep, and I'm kind of nervous, guy. Like, and everybody's like texting me like, relax, you can do it with him. He seems like a chill guy. I'm like, he is, but it's just that we look up to you like in the high scope. Like it's kind of like when people meet a president, they start crying, or a prime minister. I was like, I would cry if I see Gurdeep. I was like, oh my God, Gurdeep, it's you. Like it's that's how we look up to you. It's like like when I tell my friends, I'm like, there's 3-4 people that I look up to, and like I literally post on my Instagram story once. Like I had picture of you, Christiana Manpour, Mehdi Hassan, and I forgot who was it. I think it was Anderson Cooper from CNN as well. I'm like. four people that I really look up to, and I'm just like, I want to be like these guys in the future. And I think you guys did a great job of keeping us happy in this world, and I feel like your parents should be proud of you, her parents should be proud of her, because you get like I said, not 2 years. I feel like your show is going to be number one for another 10 years if you stay with CP24 and you guys are doing it. And I hope one day to work with you when I go. Like, I'll apply to CNN in the future. I don't know what the future holds, but I hope to work with you one day and probably even host a show with you too once. You know, we never know the future, but that's my dream too. Like, did you have a dream like that when you wanted to work with someone? Like, you did look up to a few people. Did you have a dream like, hey, one day I want to host a show with that person or be like friends with them? Do you have friends like that you looked up to and you're like, oh no, we're best friends?
Totally, yeah, and I mean, thank you so much for the flattery. That's so kind of you to say that. Like, my head is swelling hearing you say all that. Yeah, it's kind of crazy how it happens. Like, it's so gradual that now you sort of have to look at your life in snapshots. Like, now sometimes I'll be like, oh, I'm friends with this person, and it doesn't seem crazy now because it happened over the course of the last 15 years. But if I were to tell my 15-year-old self, my 10-year-old self, even my 20-year-old self, that this would be my life now at age 36, yeah, I'd be pinching myself. Like, it's really cool, you know? I mean, the guys I grew up watching on TSN are buddies of mine now, like your Darren Detition and Jay Onright and Dan O'Toole, and it's a small industry, so I know all the guys from Sportsnet as well, too, right? I mean, yes, we're a competition, but you know, we're all friends when you see each other off air. So, and even here, you know, like Pooja predates me here. She started at CP24 before me, so I used to watch her as a fan. And you know, when I started here, we had such chemistry just talking behind the scenes in the newsroom that I guess somebody noticed. They decided to put us together on a weekend show, and now she's my closest girlfriend. Like, I tell her everything. And you know, to your earlier point, viewers are smart. Yeah. Viewers get it, and viewers can tell when you're being disingenuous. Viewers can tell when the relationship is genuine, right? Yeah. I mean, there are some shows that I won't mention where, you know, the two co-hosts will be chatting on air, and as soon as they go to commercial, they'll turn their back and they're texting on their phone, and viewers can tell when it's contrived and when it's put on. But with us, what happens in the commercial break is we'll just continue the conversation, right? We keep laughing, and maybe we'll say the things in a commercial break that we probably had to dial it back and couldn't say on air because it's a family show. You know, we're together 5 days a week, and we choose to spend our free time with each other as well. Last night I was at an event with Bill. You might think, man, you guys are together 5 days a week. Aren't you sick of each other? Well, no, we hang out. Our producer, Chris, Pooja, we all hang out outside of here because we genuinely enjoy each other's company, and we want to talk about non-work things as well, which we can't talk about at work. We want to talk about our personal lives and share that with each other, and that it's almost like investing in the show and making the show better off hours, because we're building those friendships, we're getting even closer, and then in turn that makes the show better because again, the viewers can see that, and we're just so blessed. Like, I wouldn't change anything. I wouldn't change our cast at all in terms of you know, who it is and how close we are and the uniqueness of our relationships, because it all adds layers to the show. So I mean, there isn't a day where I'm not thankful and grateful for this gig. And look, like any job, there are stressful days. There are days that I can say, look, there are more days here that are awesome than days that suck. Yeah. But are there days that suck here? Yeah. Of course. Any newsroom, any job has its politics. Yeah. It has its days where you just can't wait to get to the end of the day, and you just want to turn the page and get to tomorrow. I'd be lying if I told you it was all entirely rosy. But all that said, I mean, of any newsroom I've worked in, this is the best one. It has the least politics. I get along as well as possible as you could possibly ask for coworkers. I literally laugh till my belly hurts every single day, whether it's on air or in a commercial break, whether it's Cam Woolley dancing on the street, or Pooja, Bill, and I, George, Mika, making some dumb joke that's maybe only funny because we're sleep deprived. So, you know, does every office job that's 9 to 5 have that? I hope so, but probably not, is the reality. I remember as a kid coming down here with my brother and my cousin, and we'd press ourselves up against the glass that is now the Social, but used to be Much Music. This is before your time. Yeah. It was Much Music, and you'd see the VJs in there, and maybe they'd come out and sign an autograph for you and shake your hand, and you're like, oh my God, what a cool building to work in. And this is even before I knew I wanted to be in media. So the coolness factor of this job, the fact that I get to walk through these doors every morning and like work in this building that I used to just try and catch a glimpse of as a kid through tinted windows, that is never lost on me. So yeah, it's really cool to be a part of.
Last question, since I know you're running out of time too, and I'm too, and we said 20 minutes. It's almost there.
That's okay.
What's the future goal? What do you see yourself in 5 years? And by the way, when are you getting married? Like, we're all waiting for. We all, like, Pooja asked you too on air once too, and then she asked you behind the thing, and we just like exactly. We have the same question. We tap on tables. You're like, when are you getting married?
Why do you know someone? No, I'm kidding. That's a funny question. My parents will definitely be listening now that you asked this, because they're waiting for this answer too. Your first question, honestly, I could tell you what's going to happen in 5 years, but I think I need my crystal ball for that, because again, look how much this industry is changing by the day, right? Like, it's 2019 now. You look at where things were in 2014. You know, the dark part of the industry is that, you know, there's two big players in Canada, right? It's Rogers and Bell. I work for Bell. There's some secondary players like, you know, Chorus, Shaw, and CBC. But every year there's at least one, sometimes two rounds of layoffs. Rogers does it. Bell does it. It's just a reality of the industry, right? The traditional advertising dollars aren't there anymore, right? Advertisers don't want to pay to run commercials on your channel anymore. When a lot of eyes are going to digital, they're going to social media YouTube platforms, there's cable cutters. That's why you see a lot more in-game and in-show advertising. If you're watching sports, right, you'll see like a promo pop up in the game, because they know you're not going to fast forward through that. You have to watch it if it's in the game, right? So advertisers have gotten wise to that, and they're conscious of where they want to spend their dollars. So that is changing the TV landscape, you know, for better or for worse. It's very Darwinian. The fittest are surviving, and unfortunately, you know, a lot of good people are losing their jobs. So what's TV going to look like in 5 years? I don't know. I suspect you're going to see more things moving to streaming platforms. I think what TV is going to look like eventually is that I think you'll have a bunch of channels, but each of those channels are going to be streaming services. So channel 1 might be Crave, which is Bell streaming platform. Channel 2 might be their Netflix. Channel 3 might be Apple TV Plus. Channel 4 might be, you know, Disney. Channel 5 might be Hulu. Channel 5 might be Amazon, whatever. And I think each channel will be your streaming platform that you can then deep dive into and watch their whole cache of shows. And I wouldn't be surprised if CP24 eventually is on Crave TV as an on-demand live streaming channel. We're not going anywhere. Like, knock on wood, our ratings are outstanding. We're sort of, I like to think of us as a sort of very stable, safe haven in a very unstable television landscape, right? Which is another reason I feel super blessed to be here, and which is why I have no plans or desires to go anywhere else. You know, is it nice to get calls from competitors once in a while when they're interested in you? Sure, it's a nice ego boost, but this is where I see myself, because, you know, this is where the eyeballs are. CP24 is very much a channel that was ahead of its time, right? Like, you look at our screen, there's 14 pieces of information on our screen right now. It's sort of your one-stop shop. I know a lot of people who just leave it on all the time, all day, because you may not be watching it all day, but you may check in a few times a day to sort of see what's going on, right? You look at this part. I know this isn't great for, it's non-visual, but this part, which is our headline box. That came up in the mid-90s, like that, late 90s when the channel started, 10 years before Twitter. Like, that's Twitter 10 years before Twitter, if you think about it, right? It's just a bunch of 140 characters scrolling headlines. That's Twitter. It's brilliant.
That's great.
And this thing, our research shows, is actually the most looked at thing on the screen, even more so than us, which is humbling. But it's just such a brilliant layout. It's a brilliant format. The days of the traditional newscast are kind of dead, right? No one's waiting till 11:30 anymore to get their news. If something's happening and you want to know what's going on right now, you want to know right now. And if you can't get it on TV, you're going to get it on your phone, or you're going to get it somewhere else. So I think the fact that we're live, you know, all the time, and we're first to a lot of stories, I feel like we are sort of the cutting edge channel, and we're in front of where this is going. So where do I see myself? I mean, hopefully still hosting the show, hopefully still with these amazing, you know, characters that I work with every day, and hopefully, yes, I'll say hopefully married in 5 years, because in 5 years I'll be over 40. So hopefully I'll be settled down by that point.
Well, that was it for today, and thank you so much for the opportunity, and I hope to do another interview with you probably soon. I don't know when exactly. I'll email you. Let's see when we can do it again. Next time we're gonna do it on video too, and put it on the YouTube channel I have. Well, this one I will ask you. I'll talk to you behind the scenes and see if I can put this on YouTube as well, because like I said, everybody's waiting. Oh my God, Gurdeep is gonna come and you interviewing him, and then let's hope I can put this one on the YouTube too, and your parents can see it there, and you can send it to people. I don't know, your family in India or wherever you have people.
They would like to see it.
Yeah, so we can do that next time. And it was an honor meeting you, and I hope to like have these type of interview with you in the future too, with Pooja too. Like next time maybe Pooja as well. So I want to see that pillow fight in person, because
she's off today, but we can bring her into it next time. I'm happy to help with anything.
For sure. Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, my pleasure.